Thanks so much for joining us again today. Here we are with Mike Kenneth and Brett Baird, some of the most awesomest people here in Colorado.
The most awesome.
The most. They also happen to be some pretty sweet lenders who do some really great business and have great business practices. Any clients I've had that have used them, continue to refer them because they are just awesome. Anyway, back to our purpose. My top lenders answering top questions that our clients ask us. All right, guys, I get this a lot. I hear of FHA, conventional, ARMs, HELOCs, fixed rates. And what can you guys go over some of these terms?
Yeah, an ARM product would be an adjustable rate mortgage, which has gotten a horrible reputation, would you say, in the media, and certainly there are some terrible loans written back in the 2000s. But an adjustable rate mortgage just means you're in a fixed loan for a certain period of time. So if you're in like a 5-1 or 5-year ARM, you have a fixed rate for 5 years, and after that 5th year, you can go into an adjustment period. So when it's used properly, when you have certain goals for a house, an ARM could be a really good product for you. However, if your long-term goals are to be in the house for 30 years maybe, a 5-year, 7-year loan ARM might not be the best product for you because interest rates are at all-time lows. They should be higher when we get 5-7 years down the road.
I agree. If it's going to be a house for a shorter amount of time, like let's say it's less than 7 years, and you're not sure after that point, you probably sell, or you think you're going to be getting married, or any large life changes, I would say go with an ARM because your interest rate's going to be incredibly low right now. And then worst case scenario, there's caps on it. So let's say your goal is to sell in 7, but you want the rate of a 5-year ARM. There's protections on the loan for you that it can't go over whatever your index and margin are set at when the adjustment period starts after your 5th year. If you would have had a 5-year ARM 5 years ago and you were adjusting, or let's say 10 years ago, and you've been adjusting for the last 5 years, you would probably have as good or better of a rate than you started with.
It would actually got down,
Yeah. What about HELOCs?
HELOC stands for Home Equity Line of Credit. It's an interest-only payment, and the rate is variable, which sounds scary to people. However, like Brett had mentioned before, it's typically on a second mortgage, so you have a lot smaller amount on that HELOC.
So I think a lot of times if someone's looking at making home improvements, they'll want to refinance their whole loan. And let's say someone started their loan 5 years ago and they have a great rate, and if they're in the low 4s or high 3s, I would say it's a better idea not to reamortize that loan and start over from 30 years from scratch. It would be more beneficial to them to go after a HELOC, pull out whatever, let's say it's $20,000, they fix their house up, and then it's also scalable because it's interest only and it adjusts. As you make your payment, let's say your minimum payment's $150 and you make a $300 a month payment, it adjusts downwards. So you only get charged for the remaining principal balance every month.
You actually literally get a checkbook and a debit card that you can use. It's kind of like a credit card attached to your house in a way.
Exactly, yeah.
Any other acronyms that we should be aware of?
We talked about FHA. We've had a lot of FHA talk recently, which is Federal Housing Administration. That just means that it's a loan that's insured and backed by the federal government.
VA?
Veterans Administration.
That's good.
Yeah. So VA loans are fantastic if you can get into one. You obviously need to be a vet. You'll need your DD-214, and we'll have to pull a certificate of eligibility. Really crazy low interest rates, no mortgage insurance, no down payment. You can get your earnest money back at closing. In my opinion, it's the best loan out there.
It is the best loan out there.
Any other products you think of, Mike?
Just acronyms like Good Faith Estimate, GFE, Truth in Lending, TIL.
What about those?
There's the 2 documents that you're going to see from us when we disclose to you our terms. When we sit down and you apply for a loan, we have to legally give you a good faith estimate or a truth in lending.
One more that I can think of is USDA, which is a rural development loan. So if you're living outside of a large metropolitan area, I know that we're doing some now in like Dacono and Loch Bowie, Firestone, around there. It's a 100% loan. It's really similar to the VA. It has a 0.5%. They just adjusted from 0.4 to 0.5 in the mortgage insurance. But again, you can receive your earnest money back at closing. You have to have zero skin in the game, and it's a low fixed rate mortgage.
Cool. Anything else?
I'm good.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you clearing some of those things up.
You have CHAFA, You have MMA, you have MHF, you have Aurora Hope, you have CHAC, you have Del Norte, you have Brothers Rehab. There's a lot of them. So let's say your loan amount was going to be over the $417,000. Your down payment didn't get you under that. You can do an 80% first mortgage, 10% second mortgage, and 10% of your own funds.